I'm Anna Wiles, the franchise economist. Today's topic is eco-friendly franchises, and we have a special guest with us today, Chris Brown with the Clothesbin Recycling franchise. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you very much, Anna. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to sharing more with you about the Clothesbin and our little way of making a difference in this green world. So thanks.
Absolutely. This is a very interesting topic. I'm really excited. I think this is a high demand area, eco-friendly or green franchises. I expect a lot of growth in this area, and I'm really delighted to have you on the podcast today. So thank you for being here. So here's the format for you, Chris, and for anyone who's new to our audience. We're going to watch a 60-second video on today's topic, and then we'll have 15 minutes of live Q&A. Chris, I'm going to ask you some questions, and you'll provide the answers, okay?
Sounds great.
All right, fantastic. Well, now we'll watch the 60-second franchise minute video. Welcome to the Franchise Minute. I'm Anna Wiles, the franchise economist, and today's high demand topic are eco-friendly franchises. To start, let's consider cleaning and pest control services that use non-toxic ingredients that make them safe for people, pets, and plants. We'll also discuss franchises that reduce, reuse, renovate, and recycle. There are many that reduce utilities consumption and thus lower operating costs. Think insulation, irrigation systems, and door and window replacement. Now let's focus on the reuse that occurs from estate sales, junk removal donations, and the consignment of clothes, furniture, and sporting goods. Another eco-friendly group of businesses are those that repair, restore, or renovate. For example, resurfacing of bathtubs, redooring of cabinets, and other renovation services that eliminate tons of construction debris. When it comes to recycling, there's a great textile recycling franchise that's really hot now. Thanks for watching, and keep watching us on the Be Wildly Wealthy YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe today. Thanks for watching. I'm Anna Wiles, the franchise economist. All right, Chris, you ready for some really in-depth questions here about you and the brand that you represent?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Okay, well, I did give a little plug there about your brand at the end without using the name, but you are the only textile recycling franchise I am aware of, and there are over 4,500 different franchises. So this first question might be a little softball, powder puff question for you. What differentiates the Clothesbin franchise from all the other franchises that are out there?
Well, I mean, you're right. It is a little bit of a softball. We're the only cohesive brand that's in this field. But I will say this, and just a couple of quick facts, just to sort of set this. The EPA states 85% of textiles end up in the landfill.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And the average person donates about 70 to 80 pounds per year of clothes. The other part of it is, by volume, textiles take up more space than any other product in the landfill. So communities are tasked with what to do with these textiles. So not only is there a huge part of the market that we can take advantage of, but we have the forces of the municipalities, the local communities behind us to welcome us in a fashion that gives us an opportunity to go in places like schools and local businesses. And it's a lot more than just a simple, shot in the dark. It's a very targeted approach to where we go to in these communities.
It's really amazing. And I've been in the franchise industry for 20 years. And like they say in the record industry, I'd give the Clothesbin franchise a bullet.
Well, we'll take it. That's for sure.
Well, let me ask this question. So what kind of background or experience do you look for in a potential franchisee?
So, yeah, and that's an interesting question because our model is very simple and a lot of the heavy lifting as it relates to our franchise, we do for the franchisees. Like the bins themselves, where do we place them? We do that for the franchisees. We coordinate with the property owners, the administrators of the schools, and we place those bins in the exact locations where we feel like they need to be. So we're
Wow.
listening for people who can take that and run with it. And what I mean by that is, they listen, they're able to follow systems, they know their community, they're engaged in the community. The good news is also though, about 90% of our franchisees keep their day jobs. So there's not, we're asking to have those skills or listening for those skills.
Mhm.
A lot is not required of the individual to do that. They're not removing the textiles from the bins. They hire somebody to do that. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second, I think, when
Okay.
the labor.
All right. So that leads me to, so are there any specific skills or abilities that you find especially helpful for the owner of a clothesman
Yeah.
franchise? It sounds like networking, being part of their community, and frankly, having the attitude or of wanting to make a difference.
Absolutely. I mean, we're a green company. We lean into that. Our
Mhm.
community, we care about the communities that we go into. We engage with them. I mentioned schools as a place for where we place some of the bins. We go into those communities, into those schools, and teach recycling as a part of our relationship with them. We donate a
Wow.
portion of the proceeds to them. Same with the property owners of other businesses as well. It's a give and take kind of relationship. But like I said, we come in, we bring something to the community rather than take away from it. The other part of it is, that what's that quality that we listen for? And the one thing that I would say, and this maybe relates to a lot of businesses, but I would say the one thing we listen for is grit, determination. There's going to be a moment. There's going to be a moment in the day in the business when they just need to look at it, tear it down, and just and walk right through that obstacle, whatever that is. In our business, it's not much more than just simply, negotiating a lease or a rental agreement for a box truck or a
Mhm.
storage unit or something like that. But it takes work and it takes fortitude and it takes grit and determination. And that's what we listen for.
And so even though the 90% of your owners keep their day job, that part of the time that it sounds like the time that they do focus and devote to the business, they just need to have that attitude, can do attitude, and stick to itiveness, right? Tenacity, and take a long term view and make it work. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, because keep in mind, they're not going around. The bins are placed, and so
Mhm.
now when people donate clothes into those bins, the franchise owner will hire a $15 to $20 an hour employee. It's usually a FedEx truck driver, a UPS truck driver that's looking for an additional shift. Uh,
Mhm.
and they're accustomed to that kind of drive it around, get out of the truck, do something, get back in the truck, drive to the next
Mhm.
place. And so it's a very easy skill set or transition from the existing skill sets that they have. So the franchise owner's not servicing the bins. Their basic role is to oversee a piece of technology. It's an application that reads the contents of the bin, and they basically take a top third, middle third, bottom third kind of analysis of the productivity of the bins. And then the ones that are at the bottom third, they just reposition those on the property or relocate them if they need to. It's as simple as that. But even they
Wow.
aren't doing that. They're hiring that $15 to $20 an hour employee to do that too. So their entire involvement, maybe on a weekly average basis, is about anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a week.
Wow.
And that's looking at the application on their phone or their laptop.
So they're just managing the volume of the bins and making sure that the sort of like a route is done, and they're
And a lot of that routing is actually taking place by or taken care of by the application too. It automatically routes the bins that need to be serviced for that
that's
technician.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right. So here's a question for you. It has to do with labor. This is a tight labor market. Many people are concerned about finding that all important driver. for the business. Is there anything that the clothespin does to help owners recruit, find, source the talent that they need?
Absolutely. And so one of the things that is probably the most prevalent description of our model is simple. It's a scalable model. The franchisee starts in their territory with 20 bins. We place those bins in that market where they're supposed to be. We bring them, we deliver them, we install them. The franchisee, from the standpoint of servicing those bins, will begin with one team member. That's it. Just one simple team member that will service those bins roughly 1 to 2 days per week. In the beginning, it'll be 1 day a week. It's 8 to about an 8-hour shift. They'll service about 8 to 10 bins each shift, and they collect the textiles from those bins. They transfer or transport those textiles, clothes, to a storage facility. It's a shipping container unit. Once that shipping container unit fills, and it takes about 6 to 7 weeks to do that, they call a buyer program, which we've arranged for our franchisees. So it's a turnkey system. The bin collects the donations. The service technician removes those donations, takes them to a storage facility, and then our buyer program comes to that storage facility and removes the textiles, takes them back to their warehouse where they weigh them, and then they pay the franchisee a price per pound based on the volume of that business. That's it. That's the model right there.
I tell you what, that was the piece of the puzzle that you really put in place for me, is that there are people or companies that buy this discarded textiles and buy them by the pound. That's amazing. And that you already have those buyers lined up for the franchisees. I mean,
the founders of our company are very well versed. You and I were talking a little bit about our experience in the franchise world. We've both been in the industry for over 20 years. The same is to be said with the owners of our company. You know, Mark Douglas has been in the textiles world for over 35 years. Very well respected person. He has a lot of credibility. In addition to that, you know, his partner Nick Boru he's a person that's been in the franchise world like me for a very long time, and has provided the structure for the model that Mark has created for the franchise as well. So a lot of credibility in the industry.
All right. Just because of time, I'm going to ask you 2 quick questions. What are the minimum financial requirements you're looking for a potential franchise owner?
Perfect. Okay, so there's really, it's from the standpoint of a small business, the investment is really the 2 major parts. One is going to be the initial franchise fee, and the other is going to be the purchase of the bins. It's an asset. The franchisee purchases those. The good news is they can sell them as well. And you know, unlike kitchen equipment that you'd buy for a food business, and I have a huge food background, but unlike that, you know, it's not pennies on the dollar once you purchase that equipment. They can actually, you know, get just about as much as they paid for it if they were to sell it as well. So from an investment standpoint, we're listening for net worths of around $300,000. Liquidity, I would say at a minimum $75,000. But you know, again, you know, we can listen for those elements of the, you know, the person on an individual basis, but primarily that's what we listen for. We also, and this is another thing too, is, you know, a number of our franchisees typically will want to claim ownership of market areas. So while it's one territory and every franchisee has a boundary protected territory, a lot of our franchisees tend to purchase multiple territories surrounding. The cost is not an exorbitant amount from a percentage standpoint more, and it does set that franchisee up to scale not only within their market, because they can place at a minimum 60 bins in each market that they take. But typically what they'll do is look a little bit more big picture and think along those lines too. We love working with people who want one market too. So don't get me wrong, but we do have a lot of empire builders, as we would call them.
People who want to scale. So The last question is, so if anyone is interested in learning more about the clothesbin franchise, what do you recommend they do?
Well, Anna, it's funny that you should mention that, but I would say contact Anna. She'll give you all the information that you need. Her information's over here in the chat area, as well as any information that she's probably sent to you to invite you to this podcast too, which I'm very thankful that I got an opportunity to be a part of. So thank you.
Delighted to have you, Chris. Thank you so much. This has really been fascinating. Thank you to our audience. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've changed the name to Be Wildly Wealthy. Subscribe today so you can stay in touch and in tune with what's happening in franchising. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. See you next week.